Welcome to The Big Stove, where we discuss the biggest stories in the world of sports. Get ready for passionate, intelligent conversation about the biggest issues and personalities in sports from the fans' perspective. It's unscripted, it's unfiltered, it's The Big Stove. Let's get started with the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, September 17th, 2020, and what a great day it is to be alive, especially if you are a football fan. Why you may ask? I will tell you why. Big Ten football is back. Yes, that is correct. Big Ten football is back. The same conference that a month ago decided that they were going to postpone college fall sports have rescinded that announcement, and Big Ten football is back, baby. Woo! I am so pumped, as you can tell, big Nebraska fan, and got to give credit to a few people in getting the Big Ten football back in action. One, gotta be my boy Scott Frost, head coach for the University of Nebraska. Also, got to give some credit out to the Ohio State Justin Fields quarterback for starting the petition. Got over 300,000 signatures petitioning the Big Ten to allow fall sports to be played this year. Also, the head coach over there at Ohio State, Coach Day, and then Penn State's coach, James Franklin. Those three head coaches there for the Big Ten were really the driving forces in getting football to be played this fall for college sports here. And, Coach Frost was pretty outspoken about it, got a lot of grief about it as well. Especially from some big name people from the Big Ten, most notably Michigan alum Woodson, and was calling Frost out, saying that he needed to apologize, this and that. But where's he at right now? Crickets, just crickets. Don't hear Woodson at all. But you know what we do hear? We hear every single Big Ten football player and coach excited that they're going to be playing college football this fall. Now, it is going to be about a month and a week from now when the Big Ten will start their conference play. They got a 8-game schedule and then plus one. So what that is they will play 8 games in 8 weeks. No wiggle room for any postponements or any delays in that, and then they will go in, and on the 9th game they will actually play the seeds according to the division. So the top seed in the West will play the top seed in the East, and so on and so forth. That will be the 9th game. That final game then they will have a Big Ten champion, and that game will actually be played the day before the college football selection committee meets. So there is a chance that my Nebraska Cornhuskers can play in the national championship playoff. Now, I know some of you folks out there are not Nebraska fans. I know we have looks like an Ohio State fan here watching us, so they have a real good shot, and happy that they can at least be part of the consideration this year for that national championship. So time will tell, but looks like Big Ten football is back, and we're ready to play, baby. It was great to see all the announcements, all the comments yesterday once that final announcement was made by the commissioner, Kevin Warren. A lot of great videos out there, especially I saw Avengers one today, with with all the Big Ten coaches and players that kind of stepped up in this time. Even President Trump was mentioned in there for for his support for trying to get football back in the Big Ten playing. One of the neat videos yesterday. Obviously, I'm partial to Nebraska, but there was an Ohio State video, and it was just a small clip of a video of where an Ohio State football player is just sitting in the locker room, dressed ready to play, and just shows his legs and his hands on his knees, and he's giddy. He's ready to go. He is just, he's pumped, he's nervous, but it's that anxiety that he is ready to play. And I think that's the way a lot of people in Big Ten country felt yesterday once that decision came and was made final by Commissioner Kevin Warren. So lots of things to be excited about now. I know football's being played, but that is about the only sport for the Big Ten that will be played this fall. All the other sports are going to be postponed until the spring. But you did see some other announcements come out yesterday as far as college basketball. When they're starting, they usually start right around those first 10 days of November. This year, they're actually starting, I believe, November 25th, day before Thanksgiving this year. So those early bird tournaments where you have a lot of those big name schools, Kansas, Duke, Michigan State, Kentucky, all those that usually play in those tournaments, we'll wait and see what transpires with that and how that's all played out and when they'll actually play. So going to comments here. Hey, Dave Evans. Hey, appreciate it, Bug. Thank you for digging the intro. Appreciate it. Nice having you along here. Dustin Slump. Does Kevin keep the job after this year? Great question. I was listening to the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and they had Kirk Herbstreit on there. As many of you college football fans know, Kirk Herbstreit is on College Game Day there on Saturdays and went to Ohio State. Was quarterback there. His dad played at Ohio State. So he's a big Ohio State fan, alum, and big college football enthusiast. And Kirk Herbstreit yesterday was talking about Kevin Warren and everything that had transpired from the day that the Big Ten actually announced the Big Ten schedule, and then less than a week later decided to postpone all fall sports. And then from that moment on to yesterday, when they finally announced that they were going to play, Kevin Warren has been under a lot of fire, a lot of tension has been raised. Being a Nebraska fan, I was following it closely, especially when you had 8 Nebraska football players actually sue the Big Ten. Everything was kind of hush-hush after they made the announcement. It was voted on by the presidents and chancellors of the universities, and only 3 of them actually voted to play, Nebraska being one of them, Ohio State being the other, and I believe Iowa was the other school that were in favor of playing. Since that decision was made, Kevin Warren has been under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of players protesting, a lot of parents protesting, getting a lot of signatures as far as petitioning goes. That was started by Justin Fields of Ohio State, which garnered over 300,000 signatures. And so, it was nonstop for basically almost a month straight from that time that the decision was made to postpone fall sports, that he was under a lot of heavy scrutiny. And, from my perspective, rightfully so. I think that, we kind of started a chain reaction with, by us making that decision. Then the Pac-12 made the decision to postpone their fall sports as well. I think the last podcast that we did about a month ago when the decision was made, we touched base on this as well. But, I think the Big Ten and the Big 12 jumped shipped a little bit and, kind of jumped the gun in doing everything that they did. You have the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 that are still playing college football and college sports. And so, you have those conferences that have already actually played a week of football. The SEC starts this weekend. And, they said, wait a minute, there's still time to see what's going on, see how everything transpires, and we'll go from there. I think that, the Big Ten, Kevin Warren did jump gun too soon. I don't know if there was any collaboration with the other Power 5 conferences or not, but, my perspective, they should have. I think when you are a Power 5 conference and part of a Power 5 conference, that you as a president, as a chancellor, athletic director, and president of a conference, that you get together with those other conferences and kind of hash out everything. Now, obviously, everything is different, and down in Florida than it is in Nebraska, as opposed to California, Oregon right now. Those states are, some of those states are still under quarantine, still in like phase 1, initial phase of, coming out of quarantine of the COVID-19. So, since yesterday, since the announcement was made that the Big Ten football is back, I did read that the Pac-12 is looking into things. Now, they have said that they are in agreement with a company that they will get a rapid test done for everything. But there's still some cities, some local authorities that have not eased up on their restrictions. And so it's going to be up to, the states and everything, and Pac-12 commissioner have actually said that, we're not forcing you not to play, but it's up to your local authorities on what you can do and can't do. So, a lot of schools out that way in California, Oregon area, they can't even practice right now. So, there was talk about, since the Big Ten announced that they were going to play here in a month, October 23rd, 24th weekend, that, when's the Pac-12 going to? Are they going to set a date right around that same time? And right now, I really don't think that they will. I think that they will. I think it's probably going to take about another week or so before they actually set a definite date. I know right around November 10th, 17th right now is kind of their time frame right now. But I think given what the Big Ten has done, and being a part of having an opportunity to be a part of the national playoff committee and everything else like that, having 9 games being played, I think that the Pac-12 will seriously look hard and deep into, is the rapid test and everything that they have in place, can they get that around the same time that, the Big Ten starts up football around the end of October, right there around October 23rd, 24th. If so, they may start playing, and they may be part of the national playoff scenario as well too. But like I said, time will tell. We don't know. Still a lot of moving parts out there, even for the Big Ten and for the conferences that haven't postponed anything. You had the Houston and Memphis game get postponed for a lot of players getting tested positive and everything else like that. But so time will tell, and but excited, very excited Nebraska fan over here on this side of the mic, and excited just for college football in general and sports being played. We were going for so long without sports and everything just being postponed and just kind of up in the air, so very, very excited that we'll be able to partake in college football this year and go from there. So looking forward to it, but we're going to take a quick minute break here, and we'll be back to touch base a little bit on the Big Ten decision yesterday again, and talk a little bit about some other sports happening in the world today. So be right back from our sponsor here, PocketPairClub.com. PocketPairClub.com, club number 26881. PocketPairClub.com. PocketPairClub.com, Texas Hold'em, Pot Limit Omaha, double first deposit bonus, daily 1,000 free roll, certified by Gaming Labs. Play on your mobile device, play in tournaments, cash tables, or just for fun. PocketPairClub.com. Pocket Pair Club, club number 26881. And we're back here at the Big Stove, Thursday, September 17th, 2020. Just got done talking about Big Ten decision on playing college football in the fall of 2020. I want to take a shout out here to Andy Egley. SEC is the godfather of football. Wow. I do not agree with that. I agree that, you guys have some very good teams down there, Alabama being one of them. That's about it. That's all I think. The ACC has Clemson. That's all they have. Big Ten, that's where it's at, baby. SEC, sorry. But yesterday, Big Ten, Kevin Warren, president of the Big Ten Conference, announced that there would be college football played in 2020, starting October 23rd, 24th, again with a 8-game season. It played in 8 weeks, and then the 9th game will be a 1-on-1, 1+1. So first team in the West plays the first team in the East, and so on and so forth. So getting back to that decision and what went into it and how they came to that decision, there are some certain restrictions with that, and with the Big Ten plan, every player, every coach, everyone that will be on the field this year, they will have to abide by certain guidelines, certain restrictions that have been put in place, and with that is the COVID testing. And so let me just read a little bit here for you. So the players, coaches, and anyone, athletic trainers, anyone that will be on the field will get daily testing. daily testing from day one all the way till the end of the season. So a lot of testing for a lot of individuals. With that, there are some certain guidelines with the testing, and basically saying that if a player or coach or whoever is tested positive, then basically they will have to quarantine themselves, be monitored for cardiac things, but also the COVID symptoms and everything for 3 weeks. So 21 days from the time that they are tested positive, they have 21 days until they could actually play again. So definitely more than, the 14-day mandate that, has been in place for a lot of people, that have gotten positive, have tested positive and whatnot. But 21 days from the time that they are tested positive till the time that they can actually get back onto the field and everything else. But with that, they will have to be monitored for cardiac and stuff like that. So very, it's one of the things that needed to be in place for the Big Ten Conference to actually be put back into action and play football this fall. So that's one of many things. One of the other concessions that the schools had to make was no fans in the stands. So, you have all these schools, Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, 90 plus thousand fans that, they sell out every game. There will not be any fans in the stands this year. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what all transpires from there, to see, how things go, from week 1 to say week 3, 4, or 5, to see if there will be any fans allowed in the stands. I know that they are trying to work on getting, players' families, coaches' families, stuff like that, possibly in the fans. But as of right now, nothing is in the works for fans in the stands as of right now. So I know, the SEC is allowing 20% right now. Thank you, Andy Yeagley, for that comment. But as of right now, nothing is in the works. It'll be interesting to see how everything transpires going forward, and see where we can be. Being obviously a Nebraska fan, and having that consecutive sellout streak, what does that do to Nebraska's sellout streak? Do they count this season towards it since they're not allowing fans in the stands, or, what is that going to look like, or how's that going to affect that record, of the consecutive games being sold out? Sorry. Other co-host is jumping in on the call. Just got off work here, so he's going to be calling in here, and we'll be going from there with the Hebrew Hammer. So, but I know reading some articles yesterday. Moose, the athletic director for Nebraska, was talking about some possible ways of including fans. If we do some Zoom calls, or, kind of what the NBA bubble is doing right now. I don't know how that's going to factor with, outdoor stadiums and everything else like that. But we shall see. And, time will tell. So, So waiting on the Hebrew Hammer Josh Freed to call in here and pick up the pace from me. And he's a big Cincinnati Bengals fan, so he's probably probably a little preoccupied with the game going on tonight. 10-14 right now. Brownies over the Bengals in the second quarter. 4:33 left right now. But huge Cincinnati Bengals fan, the Hebrew Hammer is. But for those of you that are commenting, asking if and call in and everything else like that, we will allow some call-ins here shortly. So feel free to do that. 402-469-3161 is the number to call into. But we will take some calls after the Hebrew Hammer calls in and go from there. So we will take a short break here, and we will be back here in a minute. All right, we're back here at the Big Stove, Thursday, September 17th, 2020. My partner in crime, co-host, the Hebrew Hammer, is still dealing with some issues at the house there, so we're just going ahead and take it here until he calls in. But just reading some comments here during that break. David Evans, college football. Let's talk about Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers over the Jayhawks, baby. Wow, what a game. What an upset. Les Miles taking the Kansas Jayhawks opening night for Big 12 football there in Kansas and just kind of shits a big one. And Coastal Carolina takes it to them. And then, I don't know if any of you guys saw this. I'm sure everyone did. It was on ESPN. It was on the highlights after the game. But they just took that sledgehammer to the KU Rock and just smothered it. Just smothered it. So, David Evans, you must be a big old Jayhawk fan out there, bud. So, sorry, not sorry. But a lot of, a couple upsets last week. And, with not having a lot of, practice getting postponed and kind of pushed back some time. And, some of these other teams, maybe having a little bit of advantage as far as when they started practice and everything else. You did see a few upsets last week. And so it'll be definitely interesting to see, when, if that streak continues this week and moving forward, especially here in the SEC starting up this week, if there's any upsets brewing or in the making this weekend with anything. So it'll definitely be something to keep an eye on, moving forward. throughout the college football season. I know, out here and everything in SEC country, Carolina, they've been practicing for a while now. So we'll see how they partake and how they do this weekend. Nebraska, I know, has actually been practicing. I know Minnesota, they haven't been allowed to practice or anything else like that. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, especially when they start the football games, to see, if those added practices, those extra practices and preparation and everything, how that pans out for those teams compared to the teams that, haven't been able to practice as much and prepare. You can only, studying film and the playbook and everything else like that only goes so far. You actually have to get out there and practice and put pads on pads and helmets on helmets. Do tackling drills and everything else like that. To kind of replicate as much of a game atmosphere as possible. That's the only way you're going to get better, and that's the only way you're going to prepare to win. So definitely saw that with the Chanticleers last weekend. They definitely took it to them. But you also saw in the NFL this week, you had the Philadelphia Eagles were up 17-0, and then all of a sudden the Washington football team kind of took it to them from the end of the second quarter and end up winning that game and not allowing Philadelphia to score from there on out. So definitely be interesting to see, keep an eye on for this year and just see throughout the college football season, are you seeing some upsets, or are you kind of seeing a little bit more, of a level playing field between, let's just say, a third or fourth ranked team in a conference compared to an eighth, ninth ranked team in a conference. Will they kind of be on a little similar playing field, so to speak? So time will tell, but definitely a fun weekend of college football last weekend. Not only some upsets, but it was definitely a good weekend just for college football fans in general. Getting back out there, obviously, you had the Big 12 playing last weekend with the start of Big 12. You also had the ACC starting next week or last weekend. And you had a few games before the week prior, but not too many. But last weekend with two of the three Power 5 conference that were still scheduled to play, Big 12 and ACC, they started last week, and then obviously SEC starts this week. And so UCF at Georgia Tech. Okay, that'll be a good game. Miami and Louisville. Let's talk games. Andy Yeagley. Andy, 402-469-3161. More than welcome to call in there, brother, and talk some football games. But so definitely be interesting to see how the SEC is this weekend. Do they come out flat, or do they kind of come out fired up with a couple extra weeks of practice and everything else like that? So time will tell, but we shall go from there. For those of you that are football fans and everything else, pro football fans, got the Bengals and Brownies on right now. Brownies, I believe, are still winning 14-10 here. Let's see. Yep, 14-10 with 1:43 left to play in the second quarter. Brownies have the ball, second and goal. Baker Mayfield's 10 for 1,261 yards with a TD, 0 INTs. So, but we'll go to a commercial break here, sponsored by our guys over there at the pokerclub.com. And once we get back from commercial, we'll talk some more football. All right, we're back here at the Big Stove. Thursday, September 17th. Oh, we got a caller, Andy Yeagley. All right. Andy, welcome to the Big Stove. How are you, my brother?
What's going on there, Josh, my man?
What's going on, sir? So you've been making some comments here about the SEC. So what you got going this weekend? Obviously, probably watching some football down there.
Actually, you know what? I'm kind of intrigued about, is Georgia Tech any good? And we know Florida State's terrible, but the Miami-Louisville is that's a strong game.
Louisville, take it to the house. They are the team that is going to be the scum of the earth, Miami Hurricanes. So Miami all the way this weekend. You can bet on that. That is my for sure bet of the week.
Wait a second. You're saying Miami wins or Louisville wins?
Louisville wins.
Oh, you sure, man? Miami ran for they ran for 3,000 yards last week.
No.
Like all of a sudden they can run.
No, not going to happen. Not going to happen with them Louisville
did
Cardinals.
give up. What did they give up? 20, 25 points to Western Kentucky last week.
Hey, practice, bud. Practice. Week's worth of practice makes it good, bud.
I'm going to say I'm going to be on the other side of that. I'm going to say Miami wins, and it's probably 10 points or better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
If I were a bet man, if I were.
Yeah. And then what about Georgia Tech UCF? Georgia Tech beat Florida State last week.
They did. You know,
Florida State looked god awful, but they still beat them.
Florida State's just going to be terrible all season. They haven't been really, relevant since Jameis Winston and his crab legs were there. But
yeah. Unfortunately, I know all about him.
Yep, that you do. But I'm going with UCF on this one. I know Georgia Tech. They're usually a good power running team there. But I'm going with UCF this weekend, and going with the Knights for the W.
UCF is 14th, 15th in the country. Georgia Tech unranked. Jeff Collins is the coach at Georgia Tech. I do like him. He was at Florida. I do like Collins. But UCF is good.
So you're a Florida man. So
yeah.
So who do you guys have this weekend, and what's your take on?
We don't play. We SEC starts next weekend.
SEC?
We got Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin first week.
Oh, you guys don't start this week. You guys start next weekend, huh?
Next week. Yeah,
wow.
Next weekend.
Wow, taking a little page out of a little Big Ten a little bit and postponing a little bit and wait until the start of October.
It's always been the 20. No, it's always been the 26th. The Godfather SEC. They determined it was
that's right. That's right.
The
You guys play some hush teams there to begin with, and boost your confidence, and then get going, and then once it comes time to play, a good team, Alabama or Georgia or anyone else like that, then you guys just kind of go by the wayside. So,
I mean, are you really comparing? Hey, you're not really comparing the Big Ten schedule to an SEC schedule, are you?
Hey, bud, I'm just talking college football here, okay?
I know.
I mean, if you want to look at, you got Penn State, you got Ohio State, you got Wisconsin, you have Nebraska that's up there. They're not in the upper echelon of teams just yet. Every now and then, you have a Minnesota that surprised some people with PJ Fleck as the head coach. Northwestern on occasion. They had a down year last year with Fitzgerald running everything up there. But so you got Michigan up there as well. Last year was a terrible year for Michigan State, but they can, they're up there at times as well too. So
yeah, no, I like them. I mean, they're always good coach. I don't know. I'm interested. SEC. We got picked up Mike Leach, which
Mike Leach, the professor.
He's always fun to watch, right?
Yeah, I mean, that he is. Yeah.
Let's see, what is it, year 2 or year 3 for Jimbo at Texas? Year 2, right? Texas A&M.
Year 2. Yep.
Okay, year 2. You got Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss.
Year 1.
For some,
yep.
Yeah, that's year 1. That should make for a little fun bulletin board material for you.
Definitely, especially I haven't looked at their schedule or anything else like that, but definitely be interesting to see if they play Alabama and when that game actually is. Lane Kiffin going back up against Nick Saban, see how that pans out for him.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's going to be some tough sledding there for poor Ole Miss. But
good old tough
there's so many new ones. Like Missouri, you got a new coach, right? Eli, Drinkwitz or Dunkwitz, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's won. I think it was Apple. Where did he come from? Like Appalachian State or something. He's always won everywhere he's been.
Yep.
Be interesting to see him. And I don't know nothing about Sam Pittman. I don't know who he is, what he is. I know he's at Arkansas. So new coach.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, I'm not sure.
Vanderbilt,
they count anymore.
Yeah.
And Muschamp. I would imagine Muschamp's got to be on a hot seat. I would imagine.
I thought Muschamp was gone last year. They kept him around. I think maybe just for recruiting purposes. But did you see today that the transfer quarterback from Colorado State beat out Helinski for the starting quarterback job
for South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
It don't matter, man. Years on watching Muschamp of Florida. I'm not sure Peyton Manning could have.
He's more. I think he should stick to defensive coordinator, but that's just.
He was great, man. We love that guy as defense. He was great, man. I mean, even as bad as he was as a coach at Florida, our defenses were still good.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, we recruited really, and we went through. We had Charlie Wise. We had the guy from Boise State, Brent, whatever his name was. I mean, he tried, and then he ended up with the guy from Duke. He ended up bringing a new guy every year, but it's the same stuff, man.
Yep.
Run first down, run second down, and then 3rd and 9, and shoot, you can't be successful.
Sure. Well, speaking of Lane Kiffin, comment came across the board from Dustin Schlump. How did Lane Kiffin do at Tennessee? Well, he didn't really do anything at Tennessee. He kind of left them high and dry didn't he go to
but for 1 year, though, listen, man, for 1 year, he put him on the mountain. Well, I'm saying is Lane Kiffin, he's got that swag,
He does, but, he doesn't. He tends to part ways with wherever he's at in less than a handful of years. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's Saban, and then even the last couple of years with Saban, he had problems.
Yep.
seem to always be bad with Saban.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
so it should be interesting. No, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt seems to kind of got Tennessee kind of rolling good, you know.
Sure.
Now I say rolling good, but at least
they started off cold.
trending up.
They started off cold last year, and after about that third, fourth game, they turned it around and ended on a high note. So yeah, I think he's got things turned around there at Tennessee.
Yeah, he is. And so I mean, and Stoops is kind of doing a real good job at Kentucky. I thought maybe he would have left there and
gone to someplace bigger.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, just where you have a chance, you know, because
sure.
he's competing. He should have beat Florida last year, or he did beat. No, he should have beat Florida last year.
It was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
2 years ago. But he's done a good job there. And Leach is going to be the wild card, man. You know, can he recruit those guys that can sling it and catch it up at you know what I mean, like he did out west. So,
definitely. You know, the next Gardner Minshew,
right? And then with the stash, man, he brings back Tom Sully.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't he have a big mustache, right?
Oh yeah. He's got that. He's got the handlebar mustache. Yeah.
He got the handlebar going.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me of myself. You know, just a good looking football guy, and
holy cow. But, I tell you what, you must have some weird mirrors up there in South Carolina.
But hey, bud, I appreciate you listening in to the Big Stove. Thanks for calling in, and gotta let you go here, but appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing your Gators here in the next week. Hey,
man, great show, love it. Talk more football. We don't want to hear about Nebraska. So talk real football. I love it. So good job.
I appreciate it. Talk to you later. All right. Thank you, Andy Yeagley, for calling in there. Good talking with him on some SEC football. We're going to take a quick break. But one thing that I do want to touch base on after we get back is, before you had the cancellation, postponement of fall sports and everything like that within the Big Ten and Pac-12, you started to see the players start to have a voice in college sports. And so I kind of want to touch base a little bit on that when we get back from commercial break and kind of go into detail, in-depth look at the players moving forward. So we'll be right back from a word from our sponsors at PocketPairClub.com. All right, we're back here at the Big Stove, September 17th, 2020. For all you football fans out there, it is 10 Bengals, 21 Brownies with 12 seconds left to play in the first half. Joe Burrow's driving 2nd and 10 here. But so one thing that I want to end with here on the podcast here tonight is touching base on the players' voices and the power that the players, the student athletes, have in college sports. Now, before, there's been talk for a few years now, and it's kind of gotten louder. throughout the past couple years. But it's the monetizing of the players and the players' names and images and everything else like that. This year, you had some players in the Pac-12, I believe, that were trying to fight or kind of create a pack, a group that would fight for, the monetization of everything else, with going on with the NCAA. And then you had the postponement of fall sports and everything. And then it kind of went quiet for a little bit. And then you had the 8 players at Nebraska decided to go ahead and sue the Big Ten Conference and Kevin Warren with the postponement of fall sports. And I think that speaks volumes as far as pushing the needle in NCAA and the players' voices, the power that they actually have. And so, with them suing the Big Ten, it kind of pushed the needle a little bit and kind of pushed Kevin Warren to show the findings, show their documents and everything else that, on why they postponed fall sports in the Big Ten. They weren't wanting to hand over all of that stuff. And then you had the players sue the conference and Kevin Warren. And then you kind of started hearing a little bit more rumblings. People were talking about, what this would do. It would set a precedent for future this and that, blah, blah, blah. But look what it did. When the announcement was first made, I believe on August 11th or August 12th, that the Big Ten would be postponing fall sports. And then you had Scott Frost come out and be very vocal about wanting to play. You had players coming out wanting to play. Justin Fields coming out wanting to play. He started the petition that garnered over 300,000 signatures. But it pushed the needle. And then it pushed everything to almost to be a little uncomfortable, I think, for Kevin Warren and the Big Ten conference officials, to where they ended up just I want to say earlier this week or towards the end of last week, they actually handed over all the documents and everything else like that. But Kevin Warren came out and said that they were not going to revisit their decision on postponing fall sports. They were going to do a spring season. And so with Frost and a couple other coaches, and then the players stepping up, suing the Big Ten, getting the petition started and having so many signatures, the parents protesting, petitioning outside of the Big Ten facility, I think that drove the needle and made Kevin Warren and the other Big Ten officials second guess themselves and say, okay, we need to revisit this. And who knows what was said behind closed doors between all of them or whatever. But I think it speaks volumes to the players and the power that they have. You see all the time in pro sports, in major league sports and everything else like that. Everyone goes to Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, whatever, saying that they're holding out for a bigger contract and everything else like that. Well, these players, they took to media just wanting to play, and they got their wish. It's not when they were supposed to start football, but they got their wish. They're playing football this fall. A month and a week from now, they will be playing football. And so with that, I think the players, the student athletes, I think they're going to take a little bit more of a look at this and this decision and everything that transpired, and maybe fight more to get paid to play at the collegiate level. It doesn't matter, football, volleyball, basketball, wrestling, track field, baseball, whatever. I think that this decision by the Big Ten Conference to reinstate football for the fall after the players sued and started the petition, I think that sets a precedent for something moving forward for the players in the NCAA to get paid. So definitely be interesting to see, within the year or down the road, how much traffic that gets. But we'll see. I'd like your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Actually going to do a poll on the Big Stove Facebook page for the next couple days. Guys, go on there, comment what you guys think, and we'll pick some winners out of there and send you guys some free merch, some Big Stove, merchandise. But I will do a Facebook poll on the Big Stove Facebook page, asking you guys what your thoughts and opinions are, and out of that we'll do a random drawing and for a couple lucky people, and send some Big Stove merch. So just got a phone call from my PIC, the Hebrew Hammer, Josh Freed. What is going on over there, Mr. Freed?
How are you? I'm late.
Hey,
very late.
Hey,
I'm sorry, everybody.
Hey, no worries about it, bud. No worries. We got it covered. Had a call in. Got some good comments going on that are flowing tonight. So been kind of keeping them informed of the Brownies and Bengals score, and kind of told them that you were a big Bengals fan. So sorry about that.
Oh no, we're doing. Joey Burrow looks great. I mean, it's halftime. We're down one touchdown, but it's we got plenty of time. Everything's starting to click a little. We just need we don't need a new offensive line. We need to protect Burrow a little bit better, and he's a rookie. I mean, there's some mistakes that he's made where it's questionable, but there's other things that he's doing. I mean, considering we had no training camp, you haven't played against anyone since the Clemson game besides your own team, and then you get thrown into play into the Chargers with Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, and really a top 10 defense. And barring, but I don't know if you saw a lot of the game, but in the fourth quarter, before the whole drive happened, he had AJ Green open and he missed him, and that's one throw that he'd want to have back. That would have won the game. And then the kick that didn't go
was
through.
He got a little cramp, didn't he?
Double cramp.
Double cramp. Yeah.
Double cramp. Hey, I just saw a little bit ago. I don't know if you had talked about this or that you are aware, but a fan from the KC Houston game tested positive for COVID.
I did not see that. That.
So I don't think it's gonna. It's ironically on the same thing today, where I think Houston and Memphis.
Are you talking about Houston Memphis football game that got postponed?
No. I was talking about the NFL teams are outlining now by week 4. Just about most of them, if the states are allowing it, are going to be allowing 10, 20 plus thousand fans in attendance. So I think it's the Titans announced today in week 3 or 4. Their home game, they're going to allow, I think it's 10 or 15,000. And so ironically, on the same day that's starting to come in, a fan got it, but I think it's showing further with the distancing. I mean, we have another week, no NFL players, no officiants. Nobody associated with the game got anything, which
Correct.
is outstanding.
Yes.
Considering you now have a week of travel under your belt. But I don't think, and I mean, we've talked about this before, I don't think the NFL is shutting down at all. You shut down NFL Sundays, and I mean, you try to shut down college football Saturdays. That's beer, that's chicken wings, that's restaurants, that's bars, that's marketing,
that's saucy wings.
Everything.
That's saucy wings. I don't know if you've seen that, but my boy from Nebraska wants the name change from chicken wings to saucy wings. So get it right. Get it politically correct. It's saucy wings. Shout out to my boy there at Saucy Wings there in Lincoln.
So saucy wings is like wings with an attitude. I mean, you got like all of that. You don't have that. That's a lot of fucking money that is not going to be spent. And I just think, I mean, I saw a figure the other day that showed that for every home game that is not in Jerry's World down in Dallas, it's $77 million that they're losing every time that stadium isn't packed per game.
Wow.
Even the Jets, the mighty Jets, $27 million per game when you combine merchandise, food, and ticket sales and advertising, because no one's going to pay to advertise when you can't see the advertisements. You know, no one's going to be so all of that, like per game, when you got to think about, because I thought, I'm like, you know, it's a lot of money. I just didn't think $77 million of Sunday. I mean, for Jerry, everybody else is between 20 and 30 million, but that's still $30 million as the owner of a team that you are not getting on Sunday for this.
Yeah. Wow. That's a huge number.
Yeah. And I'm obviously a little bit more of the NFL guy, and you are more of the college guy. And
yeah.
I mean, I can't also foresee the amount of equivalent numbers for Saturdays. I mean, for, you know, around, I mean, even here in Columbia, when you have South Carolina, Alabama come here last year, the hotels, the tailgating, the restaurants, you know, how much money gets pumped into your local economy because somebody big comes to town, or, you know, Ohio State, Michigan, when that game is played, whichever state is played at, like, how much does that generate that if you're having no fans or no football, that you're just taking an L on? I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy to think that, you know, just the dollar amount that the stadium loses, but then, like you just touched base on, the local economy loses as well. So yeah, definitely a hard hit to every, you know, obviously college institution, but also the local economy as well.
Well, I think everything is going. I mean, you know, they announced yesterday that by October vaccines will be available. So I think when you look, because I think that with the Big Ten, I think some of these college presidents really thought that they were going to be lauded as, like, really looking out for the kids. And not that they're not, but I don't think they expected the amount of backlash that they were really going to get from, you know, Nebraska, from people picketing, from Ohio State, you know, all the players and the coach coming out with that letter. I don't think they anticipated all of that to be the backlash that they received. And I think now with the, you know, potentially a vaccine coming out, I mean, I don't know how you do it except for the Pac-12. Pac-12 has the unfortunate benefit of being the conference that nobody cares about.
The last one to the show, the last one to the party, that redheaded stepchild. They're just sitting out there, and you know.
what does anybody care right now about the Pac-12 except being up late? And we talked about this last week.
We talked about it last week.
Game at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and being like, I don't really care to watch Arizona State versus Stanford, but it's 11 o'clock and everyone's asleep, and I got live football.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only reason why I watch college football late at night is, you know, everyone else is asleep. I'm usually awake at that point in time. And so, you know, 10, 11 o'clock, you know, something to watch till halftime or so, and then go to bed. So, but
yeah, I think you have, I mean, because in Pac-12, I mean, you know, since Mariota left Oregon, I mean, Justin Herbert,
Yeah, Justin
obviously
Herbert, and
high
then
draft pick,
you had
but
McCaffrey and Love from the running backs from Stanford.
right. But
Somewhat big
even
names.
still, though, I feel like McCaffrey, although recognized, like didn't bring didn't pack the seats and bring the views the way that Luck and Harbaugh did to Stanford. Like I feel like that was more of like the Stanford team that people were really watching because Mariota was still there and Oregon was thriving and USC was a force. And like
Hmm.
now, not that they're all scrubs, but I just don't think like,
Sure.
Pete
Yeah.
Carroll at USC. I mean, you're not like USC, UCLA that used to be a rivalry that was, now, I mean, you got talent there, but no one that's a top pick that you really want to see. I mean, Sam Darnold proved that. So,
Yep. Yep. So, so we definitely touch base, obviously, on the Big Ten decision to move forward with fall football and everything else like that. But right as you were calling, I was touching base on the voice of the student athletes and the power that I think that they have moving forward, and I think touch base a little bit on it on some Pac-12 players before the seasons got postponed and everything else. They had kind of started a group or a coalition, so to speak, of players voicing, that they want paid by the NCAA, and then that kind of got put aside once fall sports were postponed in the Pac-12. But then, once the Big Ten postponed, and then you had the 8 players from Nebraska sue the Big Ten, and you had Justin Fields from Ohio State start a petition and garner over 300,000 signatures. Touch base on, the power that the players have, because Kevin Warren came out and said, very publicly after, Scott Frost was raising his voice, Coach Day, James Franklin at Penn State were raising their voices on wanting to play. And Kevin Warren came out and said that they were not revisiting their decision, that they would be playing in the spring. And then after that, that's when you have the petition start up. That's when you have the 8 players sue the Big Ten. And look where we are right now. And so my question to our viewers, and I was touching base there at the end, that we're going to do a Facebook poll after the show. Let it run for a couple days and get some free Big Stove merch. But do you think that what has transpired in the Big Ten with the players and getting the season back on track and having a fall season for football, anyways, that moving forward, the players will kind of take advantage of what's going on right now and the power, kind of start to realize that they really do have power and push more and more heavily towards the NCAA and of getting paid moving forward.
yeah, yes, I think that it's with a lot with the generation that is coming up, that when you look at whether you're a musician and you don't want to be on a record label and you want to run your own show and realize yourself as a brand or an athlete or an actor or anyone that is in the entertainment sporting industry, you can really utilize social media as a following and as a voice and put pressure on people. I mean, look at, this week, another news story, Allen Robinson from the Bears. There's all these talk about him being traded. And not that I'm continuing to pivot back to professional sports, but he removes all of the Bears info from his social media presence and everything blows up and everyone is talking about it. There's a hashtag extend A-Rob that's going on from his teammates, and the pressure that an individual can put on a humongous corporation, entity, college, whichever, because you have a voice, and no one is out there to see, they're out there to see the team, but if they know that you're the talent, they're out there to see you. And, and I think that people that are younger are realizing that because they grow up with it. When you grow up with Twitter, when you're 12 years old and you have Twitter and you have a certain idea of like what you can post and say means something because other people will really view that. If you tweet something at night, a kid the next day can be like, oh, I saw your tweet last night. So it's not too far-fetched for those people to grow up and become bigger athletes, successful athletes, and band together and say, we run this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't realize this, we control this. We fill the stands.
Sure.
And it's like when you have replacement reps, it's like, yeah, there's other players.
Sure.
But
the quality, the quality goes down.
You're Ohio State, you want Justin Fields. You don't want his backup, ironically, which was Joey Burrow. But you don't, if you're the backup of Justin Fields, you're not going to be that kid that is just going to be like, you know what? Everyone else is opting out for athlete rights. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to suckle at the teat and go to the man and just play. And, you don't want to be that person because no one's going to respect you. And so I think they realized that Trevor Lawrence, Fields, like when they came out, everybody's saying like, nah, we're not about this. I think that's a huge reason why this all happened. And I mean, these are 19-year-old kids. Like we look at them as people that are already superstars, and they're going to be multi-millionaires, starting quarterbacks, receivers on professional teams. But these are just kids. I mean, these are kids that are like 1 to 2 years removed from being a senior in high school. Like, I think they have the maturity, but I also think they have the immaturity that we all had to be like, no, you're not doing that to me. Not realizing some of the time where it's like, you don't really want to be messing with college presidents. Maybe you shouldn't do that. But for they're like, no, screw them. I'm going to do what I want. And that's, I think, encouraging.
Yeah.
That's my really long answer to that.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. So, appreciate you giving us a call and coming in. And I know your team is playing right now, so I'll let you get back to watching your team here. But before we let you go, just want to say a quick shout out to all of our viewers and listeners. We appreciate it. Follow us on the Big Stove on Facebook, the Big Stove. YouTube. All of our videos and podcasts will be uploaded to YouTube, and just this week we got approved for iTunes. So all of our episodes will be on iTunes from here on out. Waiting on Spotify and everything else going forward. But we will have a poll that I'll post on to the Big Stove Facebook page. Get you guys some free merch. Random winners will be drawn over the weekend, so I'll let you know on that. But just be a quick Facebook poll and give us your thoughts on what you guys think. Will the NCAA student athletes keep pushing to get paid, and does this does what has happened just recently with the Big Ten, the decision overturned, does that push the envelope? Does that push the needle even further? So really want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and we'll be back next week with another episode from the Big Stove podcast. So appreciate everyone for joining in, and hope everyone has a good night and a great weekend filled with football. College football's tomorrow, college football Saturday, and then you have NFL Sunday and NFL Monday Night Football. Thanks again, everyone, and OJ Hebrew Hammer, thank you for calling in, bud. Appreciate it.
Of course, go Bengals. We will talk with you guys soon. Thank you again, and we'll talk with you soon.
All right, take care, everyone.